And I think there's a lot of like uncanny valley spots in between where it's like, okay, we've generated infinite content, but it's just not very good. Like you'll look at this thing and it's fun to play for about 20 minutes, or 3 or 4 prompts, and then it starts to die out pretty quickly. And you're like, you know what? I'd rather just have a really well curated and crafted story. Constant circular loops where even if it does feel kind of good, it just tends to like rebound back into the same set of known patterns over and over and over again, which also are not very satisfying. Whereas human creativity tends to inject enough random jitter where you're like, okay, I didn't know I was going to really like this, but it's actually pretty fantastic. So I think the reality is that in the near term, generative AI is really in that sort of valley of I can produce a lot of content, but a lot of it feels mediocre, not necessarily something that I want to give up all my other content for. So the reality is like what Gen A is really going to do in the near term is just make a number of processes around developing content much, much cheaper and allow us to extend the runway on any particular game significantly more for this, probably it'll be the same amount of capital, but 5 times the amount of content. Like that's the sort of stuff that I think we're going to start to see over the next 3 to 4 years.
I'm curious on that if I would reflect what I'm hearing from a baseline, sort of like the long term value proposition for players on Gen AI is really an infinite amount of personalized content for you. I'm curious how you sort of react. We're recording this here at the beginning of 2025, right? Like one of the big stories that came out was Matthew Ball posted his big magnum opus of a slide deck that really talked about how almost every entertainment sector is struggling under the weight of discoverability and fewer games breaking out, fewer books breaking out, fewer music breaking out, in large part because of the volume, the proliferation of content on all of these vectors. I'm wondering how you sort of square that with the idea that infinite content is what is valuable to players in the place where we sort of don't see that playing out in the market, at least from a first blush at those numbers.
When given the choice, go find curated content that you have to spend money for by navigating through a set of interfaces that are curating those lists, or open up TikTok and start scrolling your infinite stream of low interaction content. People are choosing the infinite stream of responsive content.